All right, we're back. Guess who's back? Shady's back. Anyway, E2G Sports Podcast, Week 14 NFL edition, Friday, December 6th, 2019. First of all, we're coming to you a little bit late. I had some technical stuff to get through. It's 11:30.
Our boy Tyler hooked us up.
Yeah, Tyler hooked us up, kind of bailed us out with some stuff. Had to make a little run to where he had to go. He got it done, and we're on the air. So first of all, I want to say we've been away for a couple weeks. Buddy's been on the DL, but I am very, very happy to say that he is back, and I can't be more excited. I was real geeked up when he told me a couple days ago that he's coming back this week. So, buddy, welcome back, man. How's things going?
Good. I feel like the best I've felt in a long time. So thank you for everybody who's reached out like you don't even know.
I hear you.
I'm not going to start off the show emotional, but thank you.
You got it, man. You got it. You're looking dapper, by the way.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I feel pretty today.
You do? Well, yeah, I'll give it to you. Yeah, you're looking real pretty. Looking real pretty. Clean, no marks, as they say. Anyway, you can hear us live on Facebook. Listen to us live on Facebook. We'll be on YouTube.com. So we are coming to you live. We're all around the world are going to be able to be seen and heard. So that can be good, and that can be a double-edged sword as bad as well. So anyway, a lot of topics on the table today. A lot to catch up on. 3 weeks, as we were saying earlier. It is we're closing in on the end of a very, very quick season. 4 weeks left going into this week.
It's unbelievable. We're at the three-quarter mark.
Yeah. Started last, yeah.
No, just crazy. We're in December, and there's so many good games coming up just for the rest of the season. I mean, we're going to see some matchups. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. And we're going to kind of break down some of the games, some of the important ones as well. We'll skate over because some of the games are virtually meaningless, except that they're just playing out strings. But there are still a couple important games. Obviously, up here in New England with the Chiefs coming into town Sunday afternoon. We have Baltimore and Buffalo, San Francisco, New Orleans, Tennessee as well. But we'll go over some of that stuff. Obviously, we'll recap last night's win, and I want to get into my Cowboy rant, if you will.
Feel free, my man. Feel free.
Yep, and we'll go over some of the potential head coaching vacancies and who may fill them. So we'll have that for you. But we are going to start out with we got to talk about last. We'll go into last night and segue into my Cowboys rant. Dallas, 3 straight losses. 2 teams last night going in different directions. The Bears winning 31-24, and it wasn't even that close. Bears have won 3 straight, sit at 7-6. Still on the outside looking in.
Yeah, that's a tough nut to crack. That NFC outside of the East.
Right.
I almost want to petition there should be no East champion or gear. If you win, you don't get a T-shirt if you win this division. Sorry, no.
No, I agree with you. But having said that, the Cowboys are 6-7 and in firm control of their destiny to win that division. The Redskins are 3-9 and are sit 2 wins, or they're 2 games back of the division leads. But it's really interesting. But it's usually you have one of those, or at least a couple of those divisions. But the NFC East hasn't been real dominant in a long time.
Yeah, no, it's a long time. I think years ago that was the division. It seemed like every year they were just battling it out, and one of them was going to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. So it's crazy. But Dallas lost last night. A lot of things going on there. We're going to start a couple weeks ago when they face the New England Patriots. Obviously, a much anticipated game. Mr. Jerry Jones is not happy that they lost.
I asked you a question yesterday, and I'm curious if any of the listeners can help me.
Go ahead.
I think there's 123 sports teams in the top 4 of pro sports.
Yep.
Can you name another owner who does a press conference after the game?
You know what? Who actually holds a press conference like a player or a coach would after a game.
Yeah, like I think it's the most ridiculous, self-serving, douchey thing that a human being could possibly do.
There's no question about that.
Like, go sit in the background and have some shrimp, buddy. We don't need to hear your opinion every week. You're not as great as you seem to believe you are. It's annoying. The whole thing is annoying. It's just sickening. They're like the New York Knicks. They're a name.
Right.
That's all it comes down to. The Dallas Cowboys are a joke.
Right. But that has been part of his modus operandi, which is why he needs to stay the center of attention, which is why he gets sort of, for lack of a better term, yes men to coach his teams.
Yeah. No, he needs a puppet. That's what they're looking for right now is who's going to, how many strings can I get on you is pretty much what the job interview is going to be.
Yep.
And until he does otherwise, they are going to be what they are.
Right. Which is a mediocre team. And
yeah. Worth a lot of money. Nice stadium. Good. You can host a lot of bowl games in WrestleMania. That's awesome. Good for you.
It is kind of funny, though. Like you said, we talked about the whole Jason Garrett thing. And obviously, he is not coming back as coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
No. They said there will be no moves for Week 15. You can't get rid of anybody now. What are you going to bring in, Ron Rivera? This isn't hockey.
No, he's there.
You can't bring in a guy in February and go to the playoffs and make a cup run.
Of course.
It's not the same.
Right. And you can't do it anyway, regardless, because you're still in that quote-unquote playoff race.
Yeah.
So why would you make a change regardless of that? It's just him wanting to center stage it all. And that's basically what he's done. And if you're a fan of the Dallas Cowboys and you're wondering where you're going, you're not going to get a big-name coach there. You're not going to get a big name.
No, they use that big name to get their stadium.
That's exactly it. And like lambs to the slaughter, the fans are still going to keep going to the game.
I feel bad because there are some good Cowboys. As much as I hate the Cowboys fans, there's some good fans out there. I do feel bad that you got to go through this and your owner does this, and it may never change.
No.
That's the thing.
And you're going to look back on these. Jason Garrett's been the head coach since 2010. He came in the 10th week of the 2010 season. He's 83-66. Postseason, he's 2-3. Right? Mm-hmm. You're going to look, and with a team that you can argue has been one of the most talented teams in all of football in that span. And the fact that they couldn't get over a hump and win more than one playoff game in a year. I think they went to the championship game one year.
No, they haven't. They haven't been to a Final Four since '95.
So I stand correct. You're right. They played 2 playoff games in 2014. They were 1-1. They went to the playoffs again in 2016, where they lost their only game, and they played 2 games in 2018, where they were 1-1 as well. I'm going to look at Jason Garrett's record here. Okay, he took over in 2010, Week 10. He went 5-3. The next 3 seasons, from 2011 to 2013, he went 8-8, 3 seasons in a row. If you're in Dallas, you may go 1 season 8-8 and 2 seasons at 8-8, and then you're on the chopping block.
Yep.
He went 3 seasons at 8-8. So if there was any doubt that he was not going to come back, they let him back again, and he went 12-4. Stay of execution.
Yep.
Right? They go to the playoffs, win a game, 2 games. Great. That's a successful season up until that point. The next year, he comes out and goes 4-12.
Yep. So he flips that 12-4, goes
right.
4-12.
Literally mirror image of it.
Yep.
It's still there as the head coach. Okay? You're wondering why the heck he isn't out there. Well, Jerry Jones is probably saying he had a good year last year. Maybe this is a blip on the radar screen. He comes back. The next year, goes 13-3. Stay of execution number 2. 13-3. Go to the playoffs, lose the first-round game. Nonetheless, 13-3, one of the better teams and one of the better records in the league. They come out the next year, go 9-7. 10-6, and they are 6-7 thus far.
Mm-hmm.
No more stay of execution. Third time is not going to be the charm.
No, this has got to be the end.
Right.
They have to do something. If it's going to be a young offensive mind, they could actually make the mistake of making Kellen Moore the coach, which is almost as bad as Freddie Kitchens being a head
exactly.
coach.
Well, but he's in the system, and that's the kind of guy Jerry Jones wants. It'd be a shock to me if he brings in any bigger name.
Yeah, no, it won't be a big name.
Do
you think Ron Rivera is a big name?
He's been to a Super Bowl. He'd be a bigger name than anyone else they've had in quite a while.
I'm just thinking. Yep, you're right. A Super Bowl coach in Carolina.
9 years.
Like
right.
Yeah. Franchise has their good times, has their bad times.
Mm-hmm. It's a good point.
Is he a big name? And does Ron Rivera want to be there?
I don't. That's a good point. Because if you're coaching this team, you know that the coach is actually the owner, and he's on the field.
Yeah, it's right. Absolutely ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
You know now and that'd be a great job to have, because say what you want. They're a polarizing team, the Dallas Cowboys, which is a love-or-hate thing. We know that here in New England, but they're one of the teams that has cachet, merchandising. They still sell a lot of stuff, tickets. The Dallas Cowboys, they have tradition, they have history. It'd be a great job for a big-name coach to want. But when you know what you're getting into now with a guy like Jerry Jones, you would not want to take it. There's no benefit.
You know, where they got to rip the card out of his hands for Johnny Manziel.
Right.
That's the type of person we're talking about here.
Exactly. So if you're a big-name coach, why would you want? But if you're a fan of the Cowboys, you'd want a big-name coach in there, because I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to do some research on this in the coming weeks. I'm going to look over their rosters. But you can argue this team is one this year. They have better talent. This team, Bill Belichick coaches this team, they'd be in 6 Super Bowls in the past 7, 8, 9 years. Guaranteed. They should be in the championship game year after year after year. but they can't because they don't have a coach who can galvanize his talent. And the players, obviously, what Jerry Jones said after the Patriots game was probably the players, again, reiterizing to themselves that, okay, this is what we feel as well, and the owner feels it that way, so we are packing it in. And they've gone out and lost 3 straight. So there's no question the team has given up on him as well. Say what you want.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Everything you've said is correct.
But it is a marquee job, so to speak. But now that you know what you're getting into, Rivera is an interesting name. Does he even coach somewhere next year?
Yeah, or does he go D coordinator?
Right.
Learn an organization.
Kind of reinvent himself.
Get elevated. Kind of be that second guy behind somebody young. Good spot for him might be Cincinnati. Behind Zach Taylor.
Good point.
Let Zach Taylor control the offense. You're going to have Joe Burrow. You're going to have the first pick.
Mm-hmm.
Control that side. Let Rivera do the defense. There is some talented bodies on that side of the ball. They've had a lot of draft picks up front.
Yeah, they're not as bad as their 1-11 record.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
They just go.
You go looking through their roster. You look through the roster of the Bengals. It's not super bad.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not 1-11 bad.
Right. Yeah, there is talent there. So, right, but 1-11, and it had to go somewhere because it wasn't where it was. They've had a decent team. They've been competitive. Been in a
Just
couple.
haven't gotten over the hump in the playoffs.
That's it.
Pretty much what it comes down to.
Right. I don't think they're wishing Marvin Lewis was back as head coach, but they had to start again somewhere. Sometimes you got to hit rock bottom. I would hope they wouldn't think that Marvin Lewis should still be coach.
They bring him back.
Exactly.
Greatest upset in sports.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
That press conference. I'd probably watch it. That'd just be entertaining.
Oh, it'd be
great to be back.
It'd be classic.
Yeah. I'm here to lose 5 more playoff games.
But hey, do you see a Lincoln Riley potentially going to Cincinnati or a Jim Harbaugh?
The Zach Taylor thing, I think, is a keeper because, again, if Marvin Jones lasted that long, Taylor's going to get an opportunity of a few years to try to get this offense. Now you have the first pick overall. He's going to be able to work with Joe Burrow. If you haven't seen Joe Burrow play yet, he's got it.
Oh, no question.
He's got
it. Good player, maybe. Yeah,
he's elevated from maybe an early day 3 pick to the number 1 pick in the draft this year.
Yep, agreed.
And he's going home to Ohio. He's an Ohio kid. So that's
there's your number 1 pick, right?
Yeah. Yeah, him and Chase Young are the 2 best players in this draft, just off the beginning. And both from Ohio, so Cincinnati wins out either way. But you got to grab the quarterback, especially if you get the young offensive mind as coach.
Right. Chase Young's a stud, but he was a Heisman Trophy candidate until the Michigan game because he was a non-factor in that game.
Yeah, they blocked him up well.
Can I say something about him? He didn't look like he was hustling a little bit to me. He looked
really
to me. He did. He'd give up on the plays. Wouldn't chase runners down. I seen him. He's got a motor.
I like that he's movable. He's a chess piece up front.
I agree with you.
He can play a little bit. You could put him at middle linebacker and actually probably get pretty good production.
Right. He's got a Jason Taylor kind of feel to him.
Yeah, very long, athletic.
Yeah.
Freaky, quick first step, good hand usage. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff I've watched tape, he really is that good.
I like him too.
I think he's every bit as good as Bosa.
You think so?
Yeah.
And and I can see sort of similarities too. Long, leany, lanky, can scoot, lateral movement, up and down the field.
I want to see when the combine comes if he does 3-cone and jump, and I'd love to see what his 3-cone agility time is.
I like the 3-cone.
People don't realize how important that is. That's football for you.
Yeah, I agree. The cone drills. So Sony, it's just interesting, this whole Dallas thing, but we'll pontificate on that. And I'm going to break this down a little bit because kind of look over their talent. Not today, obviously. I don't have enough time. I need more than an hour to do this.
Yeah, no, I'm one of those guys. I got to go through a whole roster,
right,
and including practice squad, what they're hiding away,
right.
And this is the beginning of something I learned at scouting school. This is stash and poach season, it's called.
It's not Boy Scout or Cub Scout school, right?
No.
Right, okay, just making sure.
Stash and poach, where you stash away a guy on IR who has a marginal injury, a.k.a. the Foxborough flu some of these rookies get, so they get redshirted. You pull a guy off another practice squad. He doesn't even get activated for the end of the year. and then you get to sign him to a futures deal and keep him on your roster. So it's a guy you've had interest on,
Right.
who's on another practice squad. So the next 3 or 4 weeks, there's going to be a lot of that going on.
Right.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's known. Nobody is safe on a practice squad right now.
No, and that happens a lot. What do you call it? Stash and what?
Stash and poach.
Right. That's not just a breakfast anymore.
No, this isn't a egg omelet. This is
Nice.
pretty interesting. Hey, I see you on Facebook Messenger.
Who, me?
I'll send you something.
Yeah, send me. I can't get on I'm trying to share this, actually. I got to be honest with you. And I didn't get I know it's on YouTube, but we'll get to it during the break. So, my friends, I'll get the page shared to you. Hopefully you can see us or listen to us. But you can always click into Buddy's
Here's
link.
what I just did.
You sharing something for me? We're getting technical on the air here. This is good stuff. Inside podcast radio. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna go through some of the games. Obviously, we'll hit I think we're gonna go. We're gonna go up and down the league, and we'll click into stuff.
Yeah, there's some good games this week.
Buddy.
1 o'clock window has been pretty good lately. So I just
noticed.
shared it publicly, so you'll be able to share it.
All right, good, excellent. So anyway, you want to start in the NFL?
Yeah, let's.
Actually, you know what?
See. We'll take our break.
Before we do that, we're going to break. And on the other side, I'm going to tell you why. The offensive coordinator for the Patriots. I'm going to tell you why Josh McDaniel may surface again as a head coach in the NFL, because I think he's kind of blackballed, but there's one little caveat that may bring Josh McDaniel to another NFL team. We'll tell you that. E2G Sports Podcast, NFL Week 14, we'll be back with a few more tidbits of information. We'll go up and down the league after this. NFL. Let's get right to the slate. And, Buddy, we'll talk some of these games a little bit. We'll scan over, but we'll focus on the important ones. The 6-6 Colts go to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers at 5-7.
Should be awesome. I'm going with the Bucs.
You taking Tampa?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of injuries across the receiving core. Really don't know how they're going to move the ball, and Tampa Bay is really solid against the run.
I like it. I'm taking Indy, though.
Good for you.
Like that. Miami. I'm taking Miami over the Jets. Miami is going to New York. Miami's won 4 straight versus the Jets.
I don't have a coin. Jets.
Gotcha. Here's a good game. The 49ers.
Saints. This is a good game.
49ers Saints. Yeah, both 2-10-2 teams. This may be for a top seed in the NFC.
Yeah, that NFC, it's crazy that the 5 seed right now. Like, they got to go to Dallas or Philadelphia in the playoffs. San Francisco does.
Yeah.
And remember last time that happened, Seattle in 2010, that was the Quake game.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Where Marshawn Lynch had the big game. New Orleans went in as the defending champ and got smacked out of the playoffs.
Right.
They got beat up.
Seattle was 7-9 going in, right?
That was the game that kind of exposed the Saints as being kind of soft.
Right. Outdoors?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right.
They haven't been the same since.
No, they haven't. That's a real good point. So that's boy, San Francisco, that game last week against Baltimore, look, that could be a Super Bowl rematch.
That was a great game.
That was a great game.
Rain, a little bit of everything.
Yep, and usually the weather can take away, the elements can take away from a good game.
Not in this case.
No, it added to it.
No, because there were some catches that were made. Deebo Samuel's touchdown, that was just a great play. And
2 decent defenses, 2 teams that can run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that was a very, very interesting game last week. This is a tough one, and obviously New Orleans is a different team at home, but I like the Niners team a lot, and I think the Niners win this game.
They're going to go on the road and win this week. They should have won last week. They're going to
San
go on
Fran?
the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to go on the road, put the pressure back on Seattle to beat the Rams on Sunday Night Football.
I like that. So you're picking the Niners as well?
Yes, sir.
All right, and this is one of our – we're going to go over coaching changes actually after, but the Minnesota Vikings, who are 8-4, take host of the Detroit Lions, who are 3-8-1, who I believe were 2-0-1 at one point. The Detroit Lions.
Yeah, things have gone really south.
Things have gone south.
Now David Blau, he's played well.
He's played really well.
Guy you hold on to and see what you have there.
Sometimes injuries, things can rise, and Stafford is one of those guys. Gets it done, great stats, great fantasy guy, but they haven't won anything with him.
Yeah, they've never won a playoff.
Is it time to maybe move on from him? You know what I'm saying?
That's the question.
Right, but this is a good reason why you see a guy like Blau do what he's doing in a backup role.
And see if he keeps the consistency. He seems to understand the system, what he's supposed to be doing out there.
Mm-hmm.
Great move by John Dorsey. John Dorsey signed him in Cleveland. I was talking about this yesterday. John Dorsey signed him in Cleveland, actually traded him to Detroit. So he grabbed an undrafted free agent and turned it into a future draft pick. And now the guy may play.
Dorsey's pretty good.
He's awesome at what he does.
Dorsey's pretty good.
He's really good.
Yeah. Right, and that's where Cleveland, a lot of changes in Cleveland, by the way. We'll get into that. But Cleveland's in good hands as long as the Dorsey's at the helm. But obviously I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking the Vikings, too.
Another coin flip. Well, Houston 8-4, play host to the Denver Broncos, who are 4-8. Oh, Deshaun Watson has 28 offensive TDs, 9 more than the entire Broncos team this year. I think I like the Houston Texans to win this game.
I think this is a trap game. I think it's going to be close. I'm still taking Houston. But I think this is a trap game because you had New England last week and you got down the stretch, the Titans and Texans play 2 more times out of the last 3 weeks to decide that division.
Did Houston get over that hump last week? They
got up for that game.
They were 1-10 against New England going into that game.
Yeah.
Right, so that was almost to the point where we talk about teams walking into New England and soiling themselves or playing New England.
They did this anyway. They soiled themselves against the Patriots anyway.
Exactly, and they were one of the some teams go in and like Pittsburgh plays New England now, no matter where they play. But when they have the coin flip at the beginning of the game, they're already down by 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
Mentally, that's what I'm talking about. Houston was in that situation. Did they go over the hump last week against the Patriots? And we'll know this week if they go out and win. So. The Washington Redskins, who are 3-9 and are every bit a part of the NFC East division race, go to Green Bay to take on the 9-3 Packers. And I am rooting for the Redskins to win this division.
I want them to win the division so bad.
Go 7-9 and have the other teams tank out.
There was a game a few weeks ago you could get in for $6. $6 after fees. Not before fees, after fees. You could see the Lions and the Redskins for $6.
That's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, and imagine them hosting the game.
It's sick. So anyway, this game takes on different implications, at least for me. I do like the Packers in this game as well, but I am rooting hard for the Redskins.
Yeah, I'm picking the Packers, but no, that would be what a story that'd be.
Green Bay's 9-3, and nobody's talking about them again.
That's because they're fraudulent. 9-3. Thank you very much.
But Aaron Rodgers, 22 TDs, 2 interceptions,
awesome.
3,065 pass yards, 102.4 rating, and
not beating the big teams.
That's it.
Doesn't matter.
That's it.
He loads up against crap teams.
That's what's going on. Cincinnati goes to Cleveland. Cleveland a disappointing 5-7, looking to just play out their season. Cincinnati, a lot of changes going to happen in Cleveland. But Baker Mayfield has a 79.9 passer rating last in the NFL.
And he's hurting.
And he's
too.
dinged up.
He's really hurting. I think there's a broken rib.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm going to go with the Browns, but it wouldn't shock me if in the second quarter we're looking at somebody other than Baker Mayfield.
Could be.
Taking the snaps.
Nick Chubb is on pace for over 1,566 yards rushing, would be the most since 1963 when one Jim Brown had the highest total.
No, he's an unbelievable player.
Yeah, he's really good.
Just total threat from anywhere on the field.
No question.
Through the pass or running the ball.
Nick Chubb. And this may be, along with Kansas City, New England, this is right there with a very interesting game. The 10-2 Ravens go to Buffalo to take on the 9-3 Bills.
I can't wait for this.
The biggest game in Buffalo in at least a decade.
Since '96, probably.
You probably
when they hosted Jacksonville in the playoffs.
A lot of things can happen. Buffalo wins this game. They're in the thick of it, not only for the division, but for home field throughout. Kansas City beats New England. You're looking at a New England team that could be playing wild card weekend. And then it sets up that whole Buffalo-New England game in the coming
weeks. Which is a Saturday 4:30 game. That is so cool.
Saturday football is great. Love Saturday football. But this is Josh Allen has 16 rushing TDs in his first 2 years, which is second most in NFL history by a quarterback. Lamar Jackson has more offensive TDs than 21 teams, including the Bills. 25 pass, 7 rush. Boy, my heart's rooting for Buffalo in this. But I'm picking the Ravens.
I'm doing something right now.
Go ahead.
I'm curious about.
Shall I pontificate?
I need to know what the weather is going to be.
In Buffalo? It's going to be cold.
Like they know 2 days in advance.
But Josh
could change in 5 minutes.
Josh Allen showed me something on Thanksgiving Day in front of a national audience. That's the best he's looked all year long. And what they do is they change the playbook up every week, like New England.
Because it's day ball.
Day ball, right? So they're no stranger to that. And he's finally fitting into that offense as well. Short game, receivers, was controlling that offense like I haven't seen him all season long. Josh Allen may have exploded on the scene, and that's the one game you'll look back up, the coming out party for one Josh Allen. I'm rooting for the Buffalo Bills, but I'm taking the Ravens in a tight game because I think the Ravens are just on a roll.
I wish they were playing at 4 and the Pats were playing at 1.
That'd be great.
There are snow showers listed here for Sunday.
Okay.
Tomorrow and Sunday.
In Buffalo?
40% chance. Yep.
Okay, what's that tell you? You like Buffalo in this?
I'm going to pick the Bills.
I'm picking Baltimore. My heart is at Buffalo, though. Carolina, Atlanta. Ho-hum, 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 Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, Atlanta.
Coaching change there as well.
They already beat them once this year.
Ron Rivera out as head coach of the Carolina
Perry
Panthers.
Fuel.
Yeah.
Give me fuel. Give me 5. Give me that.
You love the name, right?
Yeah.
I know.
So many good marketing ploys, and the guy's going to be there for 3 weeks.
Right. And Tom Brady's future team, the L.A. Chargers, at 4-8, go to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He's going to Tennessee, so stop that.
I'm picking the Chargers. We'll get into that after. The Jacksonville Jaguars, a disappointing. That's a real interesting head coach. You and I are both Marone fans.
I'm a huge Marone guy. Always have been.
Yep, I like him a lot, but something's not right in Jacksonville. They were literally 10 minutes away from the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Yeah.
10 minutes away from the Super Bowl.
And now look where they are.
And
and there's a lot of talent on that roster. That's another roster you look through and you're like, wow, I know. Yeah, that guy's a good player. Yeah, he's pretty good. Wow, DJ Chark became a number 1
Oh,
receiver.
no question.
Fournette's a guy who can carry a load. Armstead's a really good handcuff running back for them.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to play quarterback, though? What happened to Telvin Smith? How do we replace Jalen Ramsey?
Underachieve.
Yep. That's
Did I say underachieve? And underachieve. And then some and more and more and more. So have that. But that's a real good team. But we'll get into the coaching thing after. I like Jacksonville at home to beat the Chargers.
I do too. But just like every other Chargers, I call them the NBA. That's what I call the Chargers because every game comes down to the last 2 minutes.
No question. And it has for the past 2 or 3 years.
Oh, yeah. It's ridiculous. It's
right.
Oh, Phillip Rivers. Deep to Mike Williams.
Phillip Rivers.
Oh, pick.
He's had a nice career. Drew Bledsoe-like. Except he didn't go to a Super Bowl, statistically wise.
Yeah,
but
I can see what you're saying there.
He seems to throw the big pick. He's had 8 interceptions in the last 3 games. He's in the last year of a contract. So
how about this? I think that dude's underachieved.
Who?
Phillip Rivers.
I do too.
I want you to go back and look through rosters at some of the talent that they've had on his rosters, and to say he's never gone to a Super Bowl
Good point.
is pretty amazing. You go from LaDainian Tomlinson to Darren Sproles,
I have some homework.
Melvin Gordon.
And Tomlinson, that 1 year where he had 27 touchdowns?
Yeah, 2006.
It was on my fantasy
If you
team
go
that
back
year.
through, Vincent Jackson.
Yep.
And all those years with Antonio Gates,
And they still have a lot of talent right now.
there's still a lot of offensive talent
Right.
there.
Be a good fit for one Tom Brady.
Yeah,
It would
I'm
be a
sorry,
good fit.
I'm on the Phillip Rivers is underachieved bandwagon.
I agree with you. And I'm going to do some. I have homework to do on Dallas, the Chargers. So you think this is fun and games here? I have homework to do.
You-
It's holiday season. I'm
Dude,
a working man.
okay.
I have homework to do, which I don't mind at all. It's a labor of love. But
You haven't even handed in your assignment on the Salem catchers yet.
that's a good point.
You
You're
get a 0
But wait, okay.
on that assignment.
Didn't you go on the DL for a few weeks when we decided this?
You could have called me. I would have
No,
listened.
I think you were doing more important things, buddy. Just you were taking care of yourself physically. Health. I think your health is just a bit more important than what's going on with the Salem
Whatever they
catching
are.
situation.
The Salem
yeah.
Witches.
You're right. The green. Who's the backstop catcher for the Greenville Drive?
Yeah.
Right. That's coming. But I'm glad you reminded
Yeah,
me.
all right. Hey,
It's just that's
it was
why-
unfair of me to do that to you.
No,
just
no,
call
I'm
out
glad you
like
did,
that.
'cause I
no,
forgot-
No,
no.
no. That's not what good friends do. No.
Oh, it's
It was
okay.
a poor motion by me.
It's okay. We can only. I don't think that's going to jeopardize our.
Yeah,
friendship.
we've only been doing this for 15 years.
That's
together.
all right, right. And for something about the Greenville Drive to separate us now, that would be a sad indictment on the lack of friendship that we've had for 15 years, which isn't going anywhere, by the way. So Dallas Chargers and the Greenville Drive. But you're right. That's a really good, talented Charger team. Have been
Through
for
the
a,
years.
had been for a long time. And if you remember correctly, he didn't have his team, Rivers, until he played that championship game against New England with the torn ACL.
Yeah, and then he
then
won everybody over.
He won
with that.
everybody over with that. So we knew he was a little arrogant.
I was standing right there when he walked back in that locker room, man. What? Oh, my God. What a limp, the way he was walking. I
Yeah.
was listening to his family talk to him.
You were
And
right.
one of his, brothers or nephews, calling a cheerleader ugly. I kind of gave him a look.
Really?
They were kind of douchey like him. They got that sourpuss
Right.
face. And they're like, oh, these cheerleaders are ugly. And I just kind of looked at him like, what's wrong with you? Shut
Dude,
up.
Ugly and cheerleader do not
Yeah.
belong in the same sentence for
shut
what
up.
it's worth. So then you.
That's my impression of the Rivers family. I've got a lot of good memories with the Chargers, so
That's
in that
interesting.
locker
too.
room, Sean
But-
Merriman almost making me shit my pants just by staring at
Who
me.
was the kid Cooper he had? Right, the kid from
Stephen
here.
Cooper from Wareham.
Yeah, went to Maine.
Yep.
Right.
Linebacker.
Yep. Danny Pyers told me a nice little story.
Oh,
about
I
Cooper.
got a lot of good Cooper stories.
Yep.
We're keeping that under
Whoa,
wraps.
baby! Some things we cannot
Yep.
say.
We can keep rest in peace, my brother.
You bet.
No, we will not say
Yep.
a word.
Danny Pyers, the late great Danny Pyers, who I miss dearly, was one of the most informed writers. He was.
Oh, yeah.
Will McDonough was the most informed writer I've ever met as far as contacts and
Oh, yeah.
sources. Danny Pyers was second to him, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
As
It
people
was
that I've met.
unbelievable.
He knew everybody, and he got the game. And hey, Lord, God bless you, Danny Pyers. R.I.P. Still, but we'll move on. Tennessee 7-5 at Oakland, 6-6. Tennessee 5-1 under Ryan Tannehill. Right, you're talking about Brady. Tannehill's up for a little contract, right? But you know what? That's a good comeback story.
They talked about franchising him and drafting. I got a scenario in my mind. We'll go through the game, but something. If they end up winning this division, I can see a scenario playing out
Okay.
where they franchise him. I know that sounds crazy. If they can draft Tua.
And you
So
still,
they give him a year to really recover, learn the system. Do the
so
class-
if they do that, then Brady is not going to Tennessee. You're gonna have.
still could be, Brady's still my number one choice at Tennessee.
But they'd have Brady, Tannehill, and Tua.
No, they're not going to go that deep. Jesus.
Okay, but it's the scenario you created.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying if the Brady thing doesn't happen.
Okay,
If you're right.
I get that. If the Brady thing happens,
Let me just. Nashville is in a little area.
dude, Nashville's like people love Nashville's it's L.A. Middle America style.
Okay,
That's what it is.
Let me tell you what can happen as a pro athlete, even though you're Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback who's ever played the game. You can go live in Brentwood, Tennessee, and nobody's going to care.
Right.
Every freaking country rock and roll singer lives in that area. Mookie Betts lives there. He probably walks naked through the city. Nobody even knows who he is.
Right. You think Brady could do that there?
I think he could live a pretty comfortable life and not have to worry about
In
anything.
Lima? It'll be interesting, too, because I think Brady, and we'll talk about it more, you're looking now, Brady, obviously the football career is coming to an end. Where can he brand the TB12 better? That's why I think LA's a great place.
Miami.
Nashville's a great Miami. The little scuttlebutt this week.
But the money you could, with the TB12 system with country singers, like how much money he could make in revenue down there, unbelievable.
Brady, Antonio Brown, Gronkowski in Miami.
And not
next
only
year.
that, Belichick.
With the coach.
Belichick bought in Tennessee, too. Lieber's Fork.
He really? Little property?
Him, and that's where the wife's from. Well, the girlfriend. That's where Linda's from.
That's interesting. But you're right there. Sources.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I got some people who tell me stuff.
All right. I like the Titans in this game. I think Oakland ran its course.
I like the Titans, too.
Yeah.
I think they're winning that division.
I think you're right. They're on a roll. Pittsburgh, Arizona. Pittsburgh 7-5. Tomlin's done a nice job with this
He's done a great job with
Nice
this team.
job
For
with-
as much as I've cut that guy
Yep.
up,
And
I'll give proper due where proper due
And
is.
you could argue he was on the hot seat if Roethlisberger was at the helm, and after the Patriots game in the fiasco, this was a season where he could have been on the hot seat because there was talk about it last year. But he's rejuvenated this team. They're 7-5. They're right in the heart of it, and they're going to beat Arizona this weekend.
Yep, I agree with you.
Seattle Rams Sunday night game. Rams coming off finally Goff gets off the schneid, right? Performance 7-5. Kind of underachieving still a little bit. Is this a time where they say, flip the switch, the Rams? Seattle's 10-2. They're in LA. I think LA's onto something. I like what they did last week, even though you can argue who it was against. But
I'm taking Seattle.
I'm taking the Rams.
Even on a short week.
Yep. I think it'll be a little closer. Giants, Philadelphia. Wow.
Should be exciting.
Go Philly.
That's my birthday Monday. By the
Monday's
way,
your birthday.
for that
Happy
night.
birthday.
So they give me the friggin' Eagles Giants
If
for
you
the
were-
division, though.
You should have notified it. Yeah, it is for the division.
Division.
Go Giants. Go Giants.
I think Philly wins this game and ties up with the Cowboys.
I think so, too. So we'll get to the Patriots game. We're going to take a little break now. And I teased you on the break before the last break, but I will come back. The first thing I will tell you why Josh McDaniels could be a head coach in the NFL again next year. So we'll be back with the Patriots preview. We'll go through some of the coaching changes or potential coaching changes, teams we think will be looking for someone new at the helm. More of the E2G Sports podcast coming up after this.
Life around here can be hard. Money's tight, unemployment is high, and sometimes opportunity seems too far away. You work hard and often. At times, you might not have the time or the energy to fight. The insurance
Welcome back to the E2G Sportscast, third and final. Buddy Andre, John Ahern, Tyler O'Neill getting it done, bringing this extravaganza to you. Going up and down the NFL slate. We're going to go through some of the coaching changes. I want to tell you, we talked about the Tom Brady stuff and where he's going to go as a player. It seems like he may be out in New England. Tom Curran of NBC Sports Boston, who's pretty tapped in, had a real interesting article about the final days. And if you get a chance to read it, posted a few days ago. But it's really good stuff. Josh McDaniel, with what he did with the Colts a couple years ago. Has it been 2 years or was it last year?
It was after the Philly Super Bowl, so this would be the second season that Frank Reich's been there.
Right. So kind of disassociated himself from any potential head coaching job in the league when you basically say you accept a job verbally. Have your coaches all the way there for what it's worth. I'm saying.
Oh no, there's still guys on that who are on that coaching staff who are not Frank Reich guys.
Right. So he had everything there. So I thought Josh McDaniel would be blackballed.
I agree with you.
He has one shot at coming back as an NFL head coach. If Brady goes somewhere, like the Chargers, and requests him to go.
Yep.
Package deal.
And a lot of that stuff will be done early on.
Right.
Through back channels.
That's the only shot.
And agents.
Right. That's the only shot, in my opinion, that he'll be a head coach anywhere else other than New England, where he's still signed for a few years. So that was my Josh McDaniels tidbit. Brady, I think, is going to. I think he's done in New England after the year.
I agree with you.
I really do. I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's some really credible sources coming out with this. So
people who work out at the TB12 clinic.
Exactly. So
they may know a little bit.
Exactly.
More than bury your head in the sand and say, no, none of this is going to happen. Okay.
You can't ostracize yourself. It's been 20 years. Mm-hmm. It's going to end sometime.
Yeah, and Brady's dad's the one who said a few years ago.
Sure. And we've known. When we look back and all this is going to be said and done, and you look back and you put the pieces together and formulate the whole the cumulative effect of all that's happened, it'll make total sense.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't, because there's a lot of fans out there who are in denial. And if you listen to sports radio this week, it was a Belichick versus Brady sort of thing. It was hatred coming out, spilling both sides. Who do you side with? Coach, player. It was could get really ugly anyway. But we'll know more in the coming weeks. But there's still a few games to play and a playoff to play. How does it end for Brady here? Does it go out on a positive note with a Super Bowl win? Who knows? We're going to find out. But that was my McDaniels tidbit. But we do have to break down the game still. This is a big game. Rematch of last year's AFC.
One of the greatest games I've ever seen. One of my top 5 favorite sporting events of all time.
Last year?
Was last year's AFC.
It was a great game. Great game.
It can pop on at any time and I would watch it.
No matter where it is in the game. I agree with you.
It was that awesome.
I agree. Totally. 10-2 Patriots. The Chiefs are 8-4 coming in. Brady has a passer rating below 107 straight games. Longest single season of career. As far as consecutive game streak. Chris Sims wasn't that bad in his prediction, wasn't he?
But he predicted it like 8 years ago, so he's right.
Right,
now.
but before the season he had his quarterback predictions, right?
What, as far as him being like 9th or something like that? Yeah, I don't remember the exact who was in what position.
Right, but if he had come out and said, if he had used as his projections, he would have been a little better. Like when you project quarterbacks like fantasy projections, you can say that, but he didn't. The prediction-wise. But anyway, let's break this game down as I'm all over the place. This is an interesting game, buddy. The Chiefs, I think, what I've seen, and I'm a big-time Chief fan, they've been able to control the clock a little bit with a short passing game and not have to rely on the big 60-yard completion. Turn 6 into 60, as Anthony Comer and Tom Coughlin said. And this is what they could do to New England to offset their defense. Is to control the clock a little more, short passing game. See McCole Hardman, Hill on the same on the same field at the same time, and sort of a little more lateral than it is vertical.
No, I can see that. Crossing patterns, exposing the tight ends, exposing the linebackers, making them cover, exposing that zero blitz. Because if you hit a post to one of those guys and there's a tackle miss, they're going.
Who's Gilmore take? Is he on Kelsey this week?
You know who I think is going to be on Kelsey this week? Jawan Williams. I think that's why he was drafted here.
Really?
I think the bigger corner who can be physical And cover a tight end. Yeah.
Right.
This week. Yeah, this is the reason you drafted this kid.
Could be right. Chiefs are averaging 29 points a game this season, third in the NFL. Mahomes is 2-0 versus number one scoring defenses in his career. Doesn't mean a lot, but it is interesting because he can offset a defense. Let's see. The Patriots are averaging 18 points per game since week 9, 31.3
Before that.
before that.
Yeah. The offense is a dip. It just doesn't look right.
No.
I don't know the right way of putting it.
He
He runs that play action, that back foot would hit, the ball would come out, he'd hit a receiver. Even if it was just a 6-yard gain, there's none of that anymore.
Is it just? Could it be?
There's no flow to it. Is the best way of putting it.
No, so do we know the offense goes to number 12 when it's good?
Yeah, and number 11's the engine.
Right. When it's not going well, it's still the same.
Oh yeah,
12 and 11. So, can we buy into the fact that Brady doesn't trust these young kids?
oh yeah.
Has
we
to
can
be, right?
definitely.
Has to be.
Yeah, even his 10 catches by Sanu against Baltimore was for like 60-something yards. It
Yeah.
wasn't like he was
Short stuff.
connecting downfield. It was little dink and dump stuff, hoping to get yards after the catch.
Mm-hmm. This has all the makings of a game where New England's done. They're 10-2, and for what it's worth, and this is the type of game where they can rise up and
Silence the critics.
it's put for at least a week. Put all the doubters. Keep all the doubters at bay.
We're on to Cincinnati
Right.
moment.
It's a tough game.
It's a really good game.
My heart's with Kansas City because I'm a fan. My head is leaning towards New England winning.
Yeah, I think they're going to run the ball. I think
I think they
gonna
can
be-
run the ball.
and they're going to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
And feed off enough. And they're built to play Kansas City. That's what this defense
Right.
was built with, the corner strength,
It's the old 49er.
the zero blitz.
The old 49er Dallas days, Deion Sanders back and forth, where they competed and built teams to face each other knowing that they would. Agree totally with that. So this game is one they've been kind of gearing for when you circle on the calendar.
Yeah.
Coaching staff all the way down.
It's been going on. This is the normal, what was the Pittsburgh game for years.
Right.
That weekend.
The Ohio State-Michigan game in the college ranks.
Yeah. And
Right.
this is the rivalry game. And I'm going with New England in a really, really tight game because I think these teams play tight games.
Yep, my heart's with Kansas City. I'll be rooting for my Chiefs, but I'm going with the Pats as well. Can't say. Hack it up, baby. Anyway, that's the NFL slate. But let's go over some of the head coaching vacancies because we know there's going to be some changes. Buddy, I just wrote down some teams. I want to get your feedback on it as well.
Okay.
The E2G Sports podcast. It is about 12:25 as we wrap up that third segment in Week 14 of the NFL on this Friday, December 6th of the year 2019. Let's start in the AFC. The Jets, Adam Gase.
Stays.
Okay, I agree with you. Cleveland, Freddie Kitchens.
Gone.
Bingo. Cincinnati, Zach Taylor.
Stays.
Agreed.
He's going to get a shiny new toy, and they're going to let him develop Joe Burrow.
Yep. At this point, and he's in year one as well as Kitchens, but
And it's the friggin' Cincinnati Bengals. If they held on to Marvin Lewis for 17 years, how long are they going to hold
Right.
on to this
Right.
kid?
exactly. I'm not sure, I believe 17, but at least be for 2. Jacksonville, Doug Marrone.
Gone, as much as it pains me.
Me too. That's another good job to take over if you're a head coach.
There's a lot of pieces there.
Vic Fangio in Denver. They don't have a quarterback. They even have
Drew Lock, they really I'm not a Drew Lock guy.
neither am I. They haven't.
Not at all. When they got off the script last week, when he was on the script last week, he was fine.
Mm-hmm.
When he got through those first 10 to 15 plays, it was 1 or 2 reads, get rid of the ball, or just throw it anywhere. That pick he threw to Denzel Perriman was one of the worst picks. It looked Nathan Peterman like that's how bad it was.
Yeah.
I think you got to get an offensive mind. There's going to be a lot of changes there. There's a lot of problems with the ownership. Elway.
That's a team that has some talent as well, but they've gone through like 4 quarterbacks in the past 3 years, right?
Yeah.
It's insane. So, I think that. So I'm thinking Fangio's gone.
Yeah, I think it's a one and done. He's 61 years old. It's kind of like the Rod Russ thing. Like he got hired later.
Yep.
He hadn't even watched a game from the sideline in 20 years.
Stopgap. Yeah, it makes you wonder why they even brought him in, but obviously it was a quote-unquote bridge year, you could say. L.A. Chargers, Anthony Lynn.
He's gone. There's going to be a lot of changes there.
Yep.
I think Rivers is gone too.
I do too. Quarterback coach. What is that? You know what
I
that,
know.
you know what that tells me,
no,
man?
it makes a lot of sense.
Josh McDaniel, bang, in L.A. TB Troll brand, new stadium. They need the seats, marketing. And Brady's going to get wherever he goes, or the offers he's going to get, he's going to get a lot of money per year, $25-30 million per year.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be guaranteed. It's going to be like a Kirk Cousins contract.
Yep.
It isn't going to be non-guaranteed money.
And wifey would love to be in Los
LA.
Angeles.
Yep, she would.
Yep. Okay, let's go down the NFC as we close this segment out. Dallas, Jason Garrett, obviously gone.
He's gone.
Washington with the interim coach Bill Callahan, gone.
Yeah, he's gone. That's a tough sell too. People really, because I think Bruce Allen's going to be out as GM, and I don't know who wants to work for Lord Farquhar.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. Who wants to work for Snyder? We can do a whole show on who's worse, Daniel Snyder or Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, but we know who's been more successful. The New York Giants and Pat Shurmur.
He's gone.
I agree with you. Underachieving team. Although, what's his name? Old friend Eli's back in the
Yeah,
field.
so he'll be starting Monday night most likely.
Good. Go on a run. Help the Washington Redskins win the division.
Yes.
Matt Patricia in Detroit.
This is tough.
I know it is.
You know what saves him is that the GM's a Patriots guy too. I think he gets one more year.
I think he's gone. I do. I like him. I think he could get one more year, but I think they're going to cut ties with him.
I'm not going to lie. I don't think he's that good of a coach.
I don't either. And he may be one of those guys who's a pretty good coordinator. And you know what?
I don't think he was that good of a coordinator.
He's living under the shadow of Bill.
I'm seeing the difference now in what this defense could have been. Remember how I used to complain, no pressure? It was like rush 3, cover with 8.
Yep.
And they'd still give up passing yards, and I wanted to rip that pencil and stab him in the eye with it.
He had the title. Belichick was the real defensive coordinator while he was there, right?
Not even. No, he was the defensive coordinator.
Right.
That's the problem.
But
You see it in Detroit now.
Right, but if
there is no pass rush
I agree,
whatsoever.
but if the defense did well when he was with New England, it was always Belichick.
Oh, yeah.
So he never really got the credit as well. He was basically a figurehead, so to speak.
Yeah, he was there with his pencil in his ear and his laminated sheet, yes.
I think he's gone. What is he, a nuclear physicist, right? Something like that?
Yeah, he can get a good job.
Rocket scientist. Wait, we can't just all be rocket scientists, can we, Matt Patricia?
Well, you are.
Bruce Arians in Tampa.
He's staying.
I like as a coach.
Hey, my first offseason move, I'm telling you right now, the running back next year for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is David Johnson. They're going to make a move. Bruce Arians is going to bring him back.
I don't blame you.
With a new quarterback and what that team is going to be next year with the way they defend the run.
Yep, and he may be with Murray at quarterback. Johnson is not an integral part because
no, they got Drake and they got Chase Edmonds now.
So he's not, and he's a pretty good. He's a real good player, buried in Arizona.
Oh yeah,
who can get things done. Agreed.
Yeah,
that's a good call on your point. I have to second that. Okay, Scott Turner is the offensive coordinator at Carolina.
Who
is Scott Turner? I mean, is Scott Turner's in as head coach?
I don't know.
He's the interim head coach now.
He's the interim head coach?
Right.
I had no idea.
Who's the offensive coordinator? Scott Turner.
Oh, good.
Who's in for Ron Rivera. I'm guessing he's gone.
Yeah, it's Scott Turner. Wasn't he at Wham?
I had to look it up today.
He probably doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
That's an interesting team to take over, too, because I'm sure we're guessing what we talked about all year long, Cam Newton's out.
Yep. Will Greer time.
Will Greer time. That's not a bad choice. They did draft him high. Final coach or final team, Dan Quinn in Atlanta. Has to go.
Yeah, no.
Has to go.
He's out.
Right.
They haven't been the same since 2:10 left in the third quarter of the Super Bowl.
Thank you very much. 28-3. 3 numbers that they will never play in their lottery, wherever they may be in this country. And that's going to do it.
Aren't we pretty?
Yeah.
Look at us. Wrapping up an hour. It's
been, first of all, buddy, it's great to see you back. Tyler, thank you so much. It's been 3 weeks to be back. I was a little rusty today, I'll freely admit it, but it's really good to be back on the Schneid. Thanks for everyone on Facebook.com to watch and listen. Thanks for everyone on YouTube.com to watch and listen. Friends and family out there, take care, be safe. It's been great. We'll be back more next week, hopefully with a guest. I'm not going to let anything go now because it's not official. But we'll be back next week with Week 15 in the NFL. This has been the E2G Sports Podcast. We'll be back next week. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Be safe. Arrivederci.